I don't know why I'm not zoomed out enough, but I'm wearing a really nice top today. So hello everyone. Today we're gonna do a slightly different video to normal, but one that I actually am really excited for. So today we are looking through into the past, into my style journey. We're going from toddler Moon all the way up to today, and we're gonna talk about how my style's changed, what influenced it, how things have gone, and the common threads. So we're gonna look through the whole 20 years of my life, 25 years if we're being specific, but for the purpose of the video, it's probably about 20 years. From the beginning, 2-year-old me in her leggings and jumpers, all the way to now, and we're gonna look at the funny, the bad, the amusing, the questionable and cringe, and also find the common threads and what inspired those outfits and how that kind of leads to where I'm at this moment. And speaking of which, thank you so much Pandora for working with me on this video. They have a new collection out called the Signature Collection, celebrating 20 years of Pandora, so I thought it was the perfect video to talk about them in. 20 years is a long time, as we're about to discover in this video. So I've learned a lot in my style journey, and I've really found myself and how I like to wear clothes, what my personal style is. And one of those things is stacking and layering jewellery. I'm always wearing 2 necklaces. You will not see me without 2 necklaces on. I love earrings. I'm thinking about getting my seconds pierced so I can keep going, stacking them up. Love a couple of rings. There's always a way that you can put jewellery together to make it more you and tell more of your story. Jewellery for me doesn't just embody style, it also evokes memories and feelings and things I've experienced in my past. Pandora Signature celebrates 20 years of style and stories through the Pandora Moments charm bracelet. So let me talk you through my jewellery look today. I'm wearing some of the new Pandora Signature items. So let's start with my wrists. It's always a good place to start. So on my wrists I have 4 bracelets, and I'm a little bit charm heavy on this one. So I've got the gold Pandora Moments bracelet here, in which I have 2 of the new Pandora Signature charms, and then I have my classic fave, as we know, my bracelet here is silver, and I've got some of my Pandora charms on here. So this is all on my right hand, and then on my left hand I have another Pandora Moments bracelet, and I've got this one on in rose gold. I thought because of the colour of my top today I might bring in the rose gold, the gold and the silver, just because I think it all works really well with this kind of darker red maroon colour. So yeah, I've got some of the Pandora Signature rose gold charms on this bracelet, and then at the back here I've got my classic bracelet, my gold one with my queen bee charm, you know I love this, and then I've got another Pandora Signature charm on here. On my fingers we have 5 rings today. I have stacked 2 of the new Pandora Signature rings on my index finger, and then one of the Pandora Signature rings on my middle finger. I went with silver and gold to tie into the silver and gold on this hand. And then on my left hand, I have the Pandora Signature rose gold ring here. I really like them, they're so delicate and so thin. Around my neck, I have another one of the new Signature charms. I really like this one. Again, they're simple and stylable. They're really versatile. And then up here we have another rose gold necklace. I thought putting it all together, it just creates a vibe, right? It creates a vibe. I've also got some really nice little hoops in my ears. So altogether, I'm feeling styled, I'm feeling ready. I really feel like this completes the outfit. Jewelry just completes outfits, guys. So I'll leave a link in the description where you can find out all about Pandora's new Signature collection. And before I move on, I said I was going to tell you more about the factory, because I know you guys are interested in some of Pandora's ethics and what their kind of ethical stance is. I think the ethics facts about the factory are some of the most interesting. So here are some facts about Pandora's working conditions and the human side of their ethics. I'm going to read them off of my phone so I make sure I get them right. So Pandora employed 28,000 people globally, and 11,000 of whom are based at their Thai factories. Their Thai team members on average earn enough per person to sustain a household of 3 people and earn more than the industry average. Each Pandora job in Thailand actually creates an additional 1.7 jobs in Thailand due to the carryover effect to suppliers and the spending power of our employees. And Pandora's Thai team members also enjoy fantastic soft benefits such as free transport to and from work, subsidised meals, access to on-site sports courts and libraries, pension, insurance and healthcare, not to mention training in non-work related fields such as life skills, parenthood and finances. And finally, Pandora have been ranked #1 in the Morgan Stanley ESG Economic Social Governance ratings for a 4th consecutive year. So those are my facts. I hope that they have enlightened you and answered some of your questions. As I said before, you can find out more about Pandora's new Signature collection in the description. I will leave a link. So let's open the laptop and let's get on with looking at my style journey over the years. I'm really sorry if you can hear some background noise. My neighbours are drilling and they have been all week, but this is the opportunity I've got to film the video, so I am on it. Okay, let's start from childhood. I'm gonna move over here so you can like see what's going on. So we start at childhood. So my mum was great. My mum was very much like, you can wear like very gender neutral clothes as a kid. I was always in leggings and t-shirts. Rowan was exactly the same. If you don't already know, Rowan is my little sister. If you're enjoying this video, please hit subscribe and hit the bell notification if you would like to be notified at every upload. So my mum didn't really buy into the gender norms of dressing children. She would just dress me in whatever worked and whatever was going to be comfortable. So generally leggings, t-shirts, little shoes, completely unfussed by the whole girls wear pink and boys wear blue thing. However, I myself as a child was in love with pink. I wore so much pink. It just really got me. So in general, Rowan would get the pink items like for Christmas and stuff, and I would get the blue items or the purple items. And I think I resented that, so I backlashed by overdoing the pink. But yeah, I was just a happy kid wearing what I wanted. No style yet other than that I liked princesses and fairies and witches and magic, and I loved Harry Potter. I think I discovered style when I was probably about 12. I moved on to secondary school. I was a big old year 7, and I think I started getting in touch with what I liked. I had a little bit of pocket money. I was able to go to New Look and get shoes. I was quite influenced as a young teen by YouTube. I just discovered a lot of new YouTubers who, all of whom pretty much don't exist now. But the style on YouTube then, and I was watching pretty much exclusively Americans, was quite kitsch and cutesy. Everything was like illustration and owls and stuff like that. And like cute little characters. And I don't know why that was a thing, but I was really into it. I bought this bag, I think I was about 13. And now I look at it and I think it is the most hideous thing I've ever seen. But it was this like owl illustrated bag with tweet toot twoo or something on it. Oh, it's just not cute. Although it does have a moon on it, so some symbolism still stays. So one of those influences was that very cute YouTuber nerd thing that was going on in my life. And the other was the music I was listening to. And that music being what I would call like pop punk and soft emo. If you were growing up in this time as well, you will know what I mean. But I really wanted to be a bit edgier. I was listening to Paramore. I was listening to 303 on my ultimate fave. I still love 303 and I think they were well ahead of their time. Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco. And my style reflected that. So as you can see from some of these beautiful selfies, I was into my nerd glasses and my Save Ferris t-shirts and my eyeliner was pretty heavy. It was a time of rebellion, guys. This was actually my period of rebellion. There was a part of me that wanted to be embracing that Jane Norman style that was really popular at the time, but I was like, no, can't really afford that. My mum would not buy me anything from Jane Norman. Absolutely not. So I was generally going to like sales, I would say at like high street stores that are quite affordable and like rummaging through the sale items. Many scarves as well. Scarves, tights, I got some Converse. So I kind of break this down into my younger teen self and my older teen self. So I would say years 7 to 9 and then 10 to 12-ish. And that's where things get way more interesting. So my music taste changes again and I start listening to indie. Like I listen to bands, I listen to loads of bands. I listen to MIA, Crystal Fighters, Foals. I loved Foals. And I'm going to gigs every single weekend at my local gig place, my local venue called the Forum, and I'm going to gigs every weekend and I'm really involved in this scene. And so my style changes again to be slightly more indie Cindy. If you ever listen to Hadouken, you will know what I mean. Hadouken have a song where they're like, that girl's an indie Cindy, Lego haircut and polka dot dress, and I was the Lego haircut polka dot dress girl. I had that huge side fringe still, that sweeping side fringe, which was hugely popular. No, I don't know why. I think you might notice from these photos, I had curly hair. I don't know what happened for my hair to end up pretty dead straight, but I had real big curls. And for some reason I hit about 19 and they grew out, but I was straightening this fringe every day, so I still had some emo in me. And then my hair was just like, I hadn't worked out how to care for curly hair, which is a real shame because I miss that hair so much. I was doing a lot of charity shop shopping and really raiding through my local charity shops to find the hidden gems, but also some questionable additions. I remember I had this jumper I got from a sports outlet store that was this Lonsdale extra large grey jumper that I wore as a dress, and it wasn't cute. It had a big V-neck. It just wasn't cute, but I wore that loads. So I also discovered Forever 21. So pretty much every item you see that is kind of on trend is a Forever 21 piece that I got on the sale. I'd wear this real like indie look, these oversized cardigans, like oversized t-shirts that I'd belt, loads of coloured tights I seem to remember. Oh my god, the American Apparel zip-up hoodies. Everyone had one. I also cut up loads of my dad's old t-shirts. Anytime he was bored with a t-shirt or it had shrunk, I'd be there cutting off the bottom of it and wearing it as a crop. Oh my god, I also had this t-shirt that I actually still really love and I've actually kept even after all these years, but I don't really wear it anymore because I want it to last forever. But there was this band locally called Klaus Says Buy the Record, and I went to one of their shows and they had this t-shirt which said Klaus, 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 and then had this big owl on it. And I must have worn that. I wore that like over 100 times that year alone, let alone the rest of the time. I wore it so much. Oh, I just love that t-shirt. Even now, I cut the neckline as well to be like really long and loose, so I probably wouldn't wear it right now. But you know, in the spirit of everything, it's very cute. And then we move on. So when I was 17, I started working at this high street shop that sells very popular young women's clothes. It was a very weird job, but I was saving up and I had so much fun. I loved working with a different set of women who were so cool and they were so interesting, so bubbly, really inspiring to me at that time, usually a couple of years older. Part of the job was to be a fashion role model, which means to like, you had to just dress really interestingly. You had to be on the shop floor as though you were a model for them, which is just ridiculous now I think about it. But it meant that I really went out of my comfort zone and I got a staff discount, so I would buy the clothes. It's where things got more interesting because I really started playing with colour and with pattern, which is something I hadn't really done before. I was very into logos, I was very into a bit of print, but like actual pattern, really interesting things. It enabled me to spend some more money on clothing and shoes as well. I remember I really experimented with shoes. So in that year, there is this classic photo that I'll include. I'll chop the other girls out because I don't speak to them anymore, even though they're absolutely lovely. But I'm wearing this like bright pink short thing that is a shorts, not a skirt. I wore this bralette kind of top that has this questionable, in inverted commas, tribal print on it, which naturally I probably wouldn't wear now, but definitely reeked of the time. And then I'm wearing a denim shirt over the top. I think that really epitomizes what my style was at this point. I had like bits of my body out that I'd never had out before. It was like the first time I felt confident in myself. I think prom exemplifies this as well. Everyone else wore these beautiful ball gowns and I just didn't care about prom. I was so glad to be done with school. So I put on this tiny little bright blue jumpsuit and then I wore these enormous platforms that I got when I was at work, and they're literally like two hunks of wood on the bottom of my feet, and they broke actually on the night, but I just look so vastly different to everyone else, and I'm still friends with these lovely gals from school, so I'm sure they won't mind me putting this photo in. Everyone looks incredible, but yeah, you can really see that I look quite different to everyone else. So I went to uni. Normally that's when people really have their like realizations about their clothing and their style and stuff, and I lived with a couple of girls who really influenced my style. They were so unique in what they wore, like they were really cool, and I remember being like, I want to be cool, but I didn't quite. There was a bit of a mental break between those two things. So I would say uni was kind of like more experimental, but also kind of like cringe years for me clothing wise. Uni was like when I first started finding my style, but at the same time the way that I styled things makes me a bit like. So I lived with a girl who only wore black, and it really influenced me to only wear black, white, grey and neutrals. I just thought it was so chic the way she wore it. She was French, and so she had this like French air of just coolness. And so I spent a lot of time wearing just black, white and grey. And sometimes that worked, you know. I would wear a nice little play suit and it would be cute and a little pair of trainers, you know. I also got really into American Apparel and Brandy Melville while I was at uni, RIP American Apparel. But yeah, Brandy, I would just wear like a little Brandy jumper, Brandy tops. It was affordable. I could only fit the top halves because, dear God, imagine me trying to squeeze into their bottoms. No, thank you. I got my first pair of Dr. Martens and they quickly became my favorite shoe. Like my dream was wearing a pair of Dr. Martens and then a little like satin cute dress. with these like massive chunky combat boots. That was my kind of juxtaposition I was really aiming for over time. I just didn't know how to articulate. So I begin to be able to articulate that around this time. You'll see me wearing a lot of DMs with like cuter outfits, little play suits, stuff like that. My YouTube also started being more of a thing for me. And while I by no means had a huge audience, I had enough that I was going to events and being a very public figure at some of those events, and I was working and doing talks and doing to camera like voiceovers. So all of that stuff did have an influence on how I perceive myself. Anyway, as you can see, we are wearing black and white. There is black, white and grey going on. I also made some painful mistakes. I would like to point out this particular photo of me in a park where I'm wearing the ugliest leggings I've ever seen. They were bought from the high street store I used to work at. And then I was also wearing my dad's old oversized t-shirt with them. But my legs are not designed for patterned leggings. Just trust me on this. You can wear whatever you want. It's absolutely fine. For me personally, patterned leggings make my legs feel like tree trunks. So this wasn't a look. Also just the pattern on the bottom, it just wasn't right. I hope you enjoy looking at this image and thinking, oh my goodness, Luce, what were you thinking? Because me too. As uni went on, I really started to get a flavour for my own style. I ended up cutting my hair as well towards the end of uni, which made a huge difference. It framed my face so much better. And the curls left. The curls went. And you'll see as well, like through uni, I start getting more into accessories. I start wearing scrunchies. I still wear scrunchies all the time. I start wearing more earrings. I start wearing more jewellery. It became part of my look. And then we move to just post-graduation. I was a post-grad. I was in London. I'd been through a hell of a lot in 2016, so I was kind of coming out the back of that and trying to start a business effectively as like self-employed person alongside everything else, finding my feet in the world. So this is where my capsule wardrobe journey begins. I left uni and I was just buying randomly, clothes-wise, and one day, I think in like spring of 2017, I turned and looked at my wardrobe and I was like, I don't know why I own half of this stuff. I don't know how to style anything. None of it feels like mine. And so from that point, I started a capsule wardrobe journey, which if you would like to watch more videos on, I'm sure I will pop a bunch of videos up in the card section and in the description because my goodness, have I made quite a few. So the capsule wardrobe journey at the beginning was quite challenging because a lot of it was about building long-lasting basics. So I would tend to buy much plainer clothes. As you can kind of see, like jeans became an absolute staple because I didn't really know how to wear other trousers. I was still learning so much about style in general, let alone my own personal style at this point. It was a lot of fun, but it was challenging, especially on a budget. And then there were some purchases I'd make which, while I like in a way and look nice on me, like this gorgeous dress, I also really wasn't about them. They weren't my style at all. And so I'd make a random, what felt like an emergency purchase for a wedding or an event. And then I would be left with this one item that I wouldn't wear again. So I was still navigating that kind of restrictive buying, which I placed on myself as a sustainability challenge as well as a finding my style challenge, whilst also like still trying to feel out where I was at with what I wanted to wear. It's when I think I discovered like the joy of the polo neck at this point as well. And my inspiration at the time was very Scandi style and very like other capsule wardrobes. I wasn't really looking outside of the capsule wardrobe movement to try and find sources of inspiration. So it meant that everything was quite plain, quite Scandi, good cuts, like interesting stuff, but a lot of heavy jumpers. Like all capsule wardrobes were super simple at the time and super understated. So I was really using that to navigate where I was at. I'm really glad I slowed down at this point because it helped me understand my style so much better. I think if I'd kept buying the way that I was before, as I started earning money and becoming an adult, I don't think I would have had a very successful wardrobe, and I really wouldn't have been able to challenge myself to learn how to put items together and how to style things, if that makes sense. Now we move to 2018 to 2019, which is very recent. Very recent. I kept the slowness in my wardrobe, but I started buying a little bit more. I still wasn't very forgiving of myself though when I did buy things, and that did make it quite challenging to work out what I actually wanted and what I'd wanted or bought because I thought it was the most practical option, which isn't always the best way to buy, I don't think. So in 2018, there was this big turning point where I was kindly invited to the Dior, I believe it was Spring/Summer 2019 show. So that was in autumn of 2018. And this was the first time that high fashion had ever entered my world, really, at all. And it inspired this huge interest in high fashion. I don't know really what we call it, like designer fashion. I just think that high fashion really combines the artistry alongside the practicalities and the need and necessity of clothing. And it's just so beautiful. I appreciate fashion so much more now since that show. I've been to see the Alexander McQueen V&A show and the Dior V&A show now, and I loved both of them. They were so good. Yeah, the art history nerd in me really loves it. I feel like 2018 and 2019 was a real moment where I was like, okay, I want to mature my style slightly. I want to really listen to myself in what I'm actually seeing and wanting to wear. And also my body started changing. I started gaining a bit of weight, and I think that really turned around, like, I didn't feel comfortable in everything, and stuff that I had been wearing stopped fitting. So I had to start buying more clothes and start looking really carefully at what historically had made me feel comfortable, what made me feel good, trying a lot of stuff on, and also exploring in more detail the things that I really love in style. I really started thinking more about texture. I didn't quite work out how to integrate it properly, but texture was something that was really at the forefront of my mind. However, I also ended up finding summertime just this huge mental block. I didn't know how to style for summer, and I ended up buying fast fashion pieces that were very fast fashion-y, like really cheap, really like just wear it to a festival once kind of thing. And they weren't in my style, and I don't know why I would buy them and then I'd give them away. And this only happened with a couple of pieces, but it was still really frustrating to feel like I don't know how to dress myself for summer. And I don't think we can talk about colour in this period of my life without talking about beige, my one true love. And it really was my one true love, and still is something I really love. I really delved like right into neutrals. Like, I was still playing with colour in 2016 to 2018, but 2018 to 2019 was like straight in at the deep end of all of the neutrals, like mainly beige, mainly ivory and beige. That's a little bit monolithic for me now, but yeah, I was very into beige. I also started working with layers more. I started wearing more jewellery. I started experimenting more with jackets. Historically, my mother did not dress me in multiple items and like mix things up. I wore a jumper, a top, jeans or a skirt, and shoes. There was no jackets unless it was my winter coat. So I think by the beginning of 2020 I was just feeling a bit miffed at my wardrobe, not because I didn't like anything, but because a lot of stuff didn't fit quite the same anymore. I wasn't feeling as confident, but also I had a lot of the same. Like, I had a lot of, you know, I was starting to play with texture. I had some linen pieces, I had some cashmere pieces, but I really wanted to like add some softer flavours into everything. I wanted a different, like a wider range of neutrals in my wardrobe. I feel like I'm always going to be a neutral queen, but I do just want to like bring in some more stuff. Now we're hitting like a new period. I don't know, I feel like I'm going into my late 20s and I'm so ready. And the capsule wardrobe, unfortunately, has slightly died off. I'm again playing a lot more with tonal outfits and playing a bit more with textures, but I think the capsule wardrobe is dead for me. And that feels really weird to say, but I think maybe I'll write a bigger article on it. But as someone who fluctuates in weight quite distinctly over a number of years, like, I don't think I can limit my wardrobes. I don't think it's sustainable really for me to limit my wardrobe the way that I do, because it means that I end up swapping things out and giving things away more than I end up sticking with pieces in this attempt to stay at 40 pieces or less. And I just don't think that's right. I feel like I'm going through a big transition in terms of my style. I feel like so much more settled in understanding what I like. And now I feel like it's about building that again, like reimagining those foundations and building into what I really like wearing. I'm much better now at looking to style inspiration. I take a lot of inspiration from Pinterest and from Instagram. I have saved folders on both, which I'd really recommend if you're trying to find your personal style. It really helps me work out what pieces I want and how I would wear them. And also to see what's coming up more frequently. So I can see like, oh, I've pinned a dress like this 4 times. Probably time that I picked up a dress like this. I, unfortunately, by getting into like designer fashion, I've ruined bags for me. Bags, I just want really nice bags. So I'm on a mission now to save up and buy some really nice staple bags that I'll love forever. Right now as well, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm embodying all these different past styles. They're all coming and meeting me at a certain point. I really feel like this indie like slightly emo thing is still like the softness of all of those is still there. I see myself as very like soft girl aesthetic. I feel like right now my style is leaning towards this amalgamation of the London style that I see every day and I adore, and this like Parisian style that is this aspirational idea of style that a load of us have had for the longest time, which I say is probably encompassed by Violette. If you follow Violette, she's just got the most beautiful wardrobe. I feel like I've got my basics down now, but it's about finding the pieces that are just so me and testing out with fabric types and testing out different patterns that sit within my style that I think I know what it is. And I'm embracing accessories as well because I've realised they are one of the only things in my wardrobe that really last the test of time. Also, I want to get a tattoo soon. I think it's going to happen. I've just been feeling it. I've wanted one for years, but I think now's the time. Right, that was a big video and my back is sore now from holding my laptop. Oh, I feel like you've really been on a journey with me. Thank you so much for joining me. If you would like to see any more about the Pandora signature collection, please check out the link below. Oh my god, it's 5 o'clock. I've been recording for a very long time. I'd love to know more about your personal style in the comments. Please let me know your musings on personal style. Does such a thing exist? I think it does, but let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.